Welcome to our Stitch with Me, or Stitch with Us. Today, this is Jamie from Jamie X Stitch on Instagram.
And this is Jordan at Little Stitch Girl 94 on Instagram.
And I'm going to be working on A Year in Chalk by Hands On Design. Hello Spring, it's the April. Okay.
And I'm working on the Little House Needleworks Hometown Holidays Diner.
We also have the tag from, who's it from? Trisha.
The left-handed stitcher.
The left-handed stitcher. It's the fun little tag, Floss 2. Jordan will read the questions and we'll be stitching while we visit with you.
The first question is, how do you arrange the floss you are using on a project?
I do a combination of things.
Depending on how many flosses, I've used bobbins and bobbin boxes.
Yeah, and that's what I've done the most, the same thing. And that's, I bobbinate the DMC.
And then recently, especially as we've started getting into more of the fancy floss, the Weeks Dye Works and specialty stuff.
Gassed and
Classic Colorworks.
Yeah.
We
Victoria
have
Moto.
used the baggie method. And then with a lot of those, like with Hometown Holidays, it's like a couple of those and then a handful of DMC. And so I've just kind of kept them all in baggies.
So I actually have my baggie here that this is the baggie for chalk, which is the white that I'm, from Gentle Art, that I'm doing for the white on here. And so I've got it in the back. Normally I keep the full skein in the back, but just the individual strands in the front. But where this one, it has just 3 colors, I put it all in one baggie. But we use the little index cards to write what they are on it.
The next question, have you attempted to dye fabric? If so, what method did you use? If not, is there any particular method you want to try? I've never dyed fabric, and I don't really have much of an interest in trying right now because there are so many options for fabrics and I have so many projects going already that I just don't really have a desire.
Well, and I've never dyed fabrics either. I might try if I come across a project and I can't find the fabric like what I'm looking for, I might try and use like the Rit dye or combination coffee tea dye or something. But yeah, there's a lot available, and I usually can find something that I feel like fits the projects that I'm doing. So, but I'm not gonna say no. I might future want to dye something.
Yeah, and I might want to in the future. Just right now I have everything I need. I have so many projects going. I don't need to think about more fabric. If you use a needle threader, is there any specific type you prefer?
We have the same one.
Yeah, I have magnets on mine, but
And I don't know the brand. I think I got it in Hobby Lobby for like $2.
I think it's Yarnology or Sewology or whatever. It's like
Something
the Hobby
like that,
Lobby
yeah.
brand.
And I've liked that little thing, and I like that, you know, we just magnet it. A lot of times I'll have it right on my magnet that I use as a needle minder, and just have it right on my project. My favorite thing to use it for is when I'm playing thread chicken, and I'm gonna run to the very end. And then sometimes, like to finish off the thread, I'll end up putting my needle behind the stitches in the back, and then using this little end on the threader to pull that little tiny tail of thread into the needle, and then pull it and finish it off.
I've done that way too many times.
Yeah, I like to play thread chicken way too much.
Especially with the specialty flosses.
Yeah, use them all to the very end.
The next question, if you use any type of frame to stitch, do you stitch with the fabric over the frame or in the well? Right now we're both stitching over.
I've tend to do that, well, on the smaller Q-snaps, and these are the Hobby Lobby brand Q-snaps. but I have done that on the over. But when I used the 11 by 17, I stitched in the well, and when I stitched with a scroll frame, I stitched in the well.
Yeah. The smaller ones I think are just easier to stitch over.
But
I don't know what it is, but I think
Caroline made a good point one day, and I was like, Caroline from Off the Grid Needle Arts, for if you don't know who I'm talking about, but she stitches opposite, so she would stitch her year in chalk this way, and she said it was much easier for when you're threading through and finishing your needle at the end.
I find
And that
that when
made
I
sense
do
to
that
me.
often, I have to loosen the fabric a little bit,
And I've done that too.
which I think is one nice thing about
That
the
one I
steps.
haven't had this size, the
Well,
8 by 11. I haven't had the problem, but I have with this 6 by 8. So when she said that, I thought that was great. I might try that sometime. Swap it around and see how I may like it better. I love getting ideas from other people.
Do you start your threads in the front or back of your projects? What method do you use? Well, I just started a new thread. As we were talking on the last question. And I really like the loop method to start. That's actually kind of a recent thing for me. And I start that in the back. I also have liked just my whole life to just like thread it through the back of the stitches, through a line of stitches, and then to bring it up through the front. So I've always started my threads from the back. I don't think I even know how to start it from the front.
I do a combination of everything. And that's because I've just learned some of them. And I just did one stitch too many. I just go and stitch along here. I have done, yes, I'm a thread licker. I had her in like that. Where you thread it through just in the back. That's what I've done up until probably the last 2 years. The last couple of years I've tried different things. One of them being the loop method. One of them being where you thread it through in the back, but you add the extra little stitch in that Caroline, again, Off the Grid Needle Arts, has taught us. With, well, and some of you may already know, I didn't know, she taught me. The Borgello tuck, I never say it right. Borgello. I think it's Borgello tuck. Where you thread it through the back, but then you take it and you do an extra little loop on just one or two of the threads. And it really keeps it snug and tight. And so that when you turn it over to stitch, it doesn't pull through. So I do that. I just started this thread before I started, and that's what I did because I had threads to start it behind. But if I don't have threads to start it behind, or I'm like doing one little motif out by itself where I don't have anywhere to thread it, the flosses behind, I have either done the loop method or the newest one, and I got this from Vonna. It was the diagonal pin stitch. So that one, I start at the top. And I go down through the middle, which on the Ada is really, sometimes it can be a bugger to poke through. But go down through the middle and leave a little tail, and then you go into the one corner and come up through a corner, back down through the middle, up through a corner, back down through the middle. And that thing, it makes your your first leg of your X, and then snip the tail off, and then do the second leg just as you normally would. And I tell you what, that's quickly become one of my favorites, especially if I'm working on something and I have like a big scroll frame and you're flipping it back and forth is kind of a nuisance. Then I really enjoy starting on the top. So I start it in 3 different ways. It kind of depends on what I'm stitching on, what area on if I have threads to tuck it behind or not. So anyway, that was a long one because I do a lot.
Yeah. If you are a gritter, what is your preferred method of gritting? I have never gritted a project. I've thought of doing one, but then ended up not doing it, so I don't know.
I've never gritted myself. Yeah. I personally when I want to start, I want to start. I don't want to take all the time to grit. Unless you could buy that fabric, that magic guide or whatever that already has the grid in it, like if he's doing a height or something, but
those kind of scare me because like you have to wash them, and I'm always scared that the like marker isn't gonna wash out or something.
Yeah,
or my colors will run or something.
Right.
So when I was going to grid, I got some like it was almost like a fishing line, but it was like a pink fishing line almost, and it was just like a solid plasticky
like nylon thread,
so that you could just like slip it out and you wouldn't have the issue of like accidentally poking through the middle of it. And so I've watched several tutorials on YouTube on how to do it, but I haven't had a project yet that has seemed like it would benefit me.
Yeah.
What is your favorite way to finish projects?
Well,
I think it's different for every project.
Yeah, that's hard. That depends on the project and what, like these smalls, just to finish them myself and use like combination of Priscilla and Vanna's tutorials and things like that, different ideas from people.
And we've only recently started finishing things by ourselves. I think we've done...
Up till then, I've always done like professional framing.
We only done like 2 projects that we've actually finished.
See, that was a little bit hard to poke through there. But then I leave a little tail. I just use my thumb to pull it out of the way. Go up through the corner. I can't see because of the black fabric there. And then back down through the middle. And then up through the other diagonal. Back down through the middle. And then at this point, take that tail. And these scissors are my sharpest scissors. They're actually, I got them from the hospital when my husband was there. The nurse was like, do you need to work? Here, I got great scissors. Because she had used them and she said she'd have to throw them away. So I always laugh. They cost me $1,000 because it was for the deductible for my husband's medical visit. So see that right there just looks like the first leg of your X, but it is tight. Like I'm pulling, it's tight in there. And then do your next leg. My hand's blocking the light there. Do the next leg of your X. And that's how I started from the top.
That's cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so finishing, yeah, we've just started doing more finishing of our own projects. Previously to that, I did all framing at a local framing shop.
We have really fun ideas for how we want to finish things.
Yeah.
So
The ideas are coming more. Like we're getting more ideas, inspiration from a lot of different people.
And different magazines that we've seen stuff in and
Right.
such.
So that's fun.
What was your first cross-stitching milestone? I can't think of my first, but a big one I think was buying my first specialty floss. That was kind of like a
Wow moment.
yeah, going from being just a like strictly DMC and kit stitcher to stitching something that used like fancy floss and buying the patterns and not like buying it all in a kit.
I'm trying to think of my first milestone. Or my biggest milestone.
Actually, I think my first, I did a Winnie the Pooh. It was an Eeyore cross stitch and it said, "Thanks for unglooming me." And I don't remember what the border was supposed to look like, but I changed the colors. And I think that was kind of a big one to have finished a project like that, because that was my first, like, I don't want to say big, but
Yeah, because it was little, but it was
wasn't.
it
one
was
of
bigger
the, like,
than the
dollar
little
things.
kids. Yeah.
To finish that and to have changed colors was a pretty big deal to my like 12-year-old self.
I can't even think of a milestone that I've hit. I guess I've broadened my horizons as far as like changing flosses and changing using specialty, but you know, I guess I've had a couple bigger finishes, and for a long time I didn't really have any finishes, and I'd work on it for just a little while here and there. So I don't know. That was a hard one for me to
Starting
answer.
a floss tube.
Oh, that counts.
Yeah,
I like that one. Okay.
we've had a lot of milestones. What is a stitch goal you have or something you want to conquer? I have a lot of finished projects that are not yet completely finished.
They're not FFO'd.
Yeah. And that is my goal right now, is to figure out and to actually accomplish finishing stuff. But also I'd really like to finish a whole series. So like we're starting the Wordplay Sal in just a couple days, May 1st. And we have I'm working on the hometown holidays right now. I've been doing the year in chalk. I have the Christmas ornaments. I have several Lizzie Kate series. Like, I have a lot of series that I'd just like to really finish an entire set. That's my stitchy goal right now.
Was that the question? What goal do I have?
Yeah, what your stitchy goal is?
Just to probably to finish them fully finish them as I finish them. Because I have ideas, but I struggle with finding the items I need to finish with those ideas and to complete them. So to complete them as I go, and to complete like my goals of one a month on Year in Chalk, and one a month on Hometown Holidays, and one a month with the word plays, and to keep those up and to keep up with those goals. That's my goal. Stay caught up.
We're gonna pause because I have to sneeze. Sorry. And we're back. The next question is, what is your silliest duh stitch moment?
No, there's been so many. Silly.
You have multiples of a couple patterns.
Yeah, I have accidentally bought multiples. But I would think just I kind of base starting one section off of another section, and I've like started things based off of the wrong tree or the wrong thing, and then you look at it and you're like, what? And you have to unpick and start over and base it off the right item, where you're trying to count from. I do that.
I've done that before too.
That's just, but silly, yeah. that I don't remember what patterns I've bought or not. That's silly.
My first thought was in doing the Alice in Wonderland cross stitch set by Brooks Books, in the grass, there's like an upwards dome kind of, but it's like really small.
Like for the symbol?
Yeah, but there's also one that's like an upward triangle that's really small. They're like the same size. And they look very similar. And they're both shades of green, but one is like a blue green and one is like a darker forest green almost. And they're supposed to be the dark forest green, I think it is, in the grass, and I did the blue green, so my grass looks a little bit more teal and a little less like grass. So I'll have to continue doing that throughout the whole set.
Yeah, because didn't you say to unpick it, you'd have to unpick multiple other colors?
Yeah.
Didn't want to go there.
My other thoughts are of like silly mistakes is just like when you stitch something wrong and then go back and look and you're like, wait, what? Like I counted how many there? I've had a few just random where I've like stitched an extra or missed a stitch and stuff. Usually it's pretty easy to just kind of fudge it and make it work.
Yeah.
There's an old, and I can't remember what tribe of Native Americans, but it's like an old theory, philosophy kind of that belief that if you do anything perfectly, you are offending the gods because you're trying to be perfect like them, and that's just like offensive. And so they would intentionally put a mistake in everything they made as to not offend the gods. And I've kind of tried to live my life by that philosophy because I make lots of mistakes and I'm just trying not to offend the gods.
You're just rolling with it and not offending. Nice. That's the way to spin it to be positive.
Yeah. If you use paper charts, do you print them at home or do you use a service? We make working copies.
Yeah, we do make working copies.
Because we do mark on our copies and we don't want to mark on the originals because we want to keep them nice, especially if it's something that we're wanting to stitch a second time.
Or sell.
And I use my mom's printer at her work.
So my work lets us make copies and print things and stuff, and they just charge us per page, and it's really, affordable, inexpensive. It's just to cover the cost of it.
3 cents a page. Like
yeah, even the color copies, if I've made a color copy for different things, because some patterns, they're colored. They're not just the black and white. And so sometimes I like to have them actually in color to follow along with.
The Wordplays are like that.
Yeah, they're color. And so the chart is. And so I think that's like 15 cents. So most of them I'll just take to work with me and make a copy and then...
Oops.
Not the table. We drop something literally in every video.
We're always dropping things.
Klutzy.
So sorry for the little earthquake right there.
Yeah. I like to copy them at work versus on my printer at home because my printer at home, it does the copy. But to highlight it smears. And the one at work it doesn't. So that's why I take it there and do it. And I'm already going to work every day anyway, so no big deal to take my pattern with me and copy it. And Jordan and I've had her come with me to work before, after hours when I'm not, working it on the clock. And when we've been making a bunch of copies all at one time. And then we just go pay and put the money in the jar. It's very nice that they'll let us do that.
I've appreciated it.
Oh yeah, I thoroughly appreciate it, and I like just the ease and convenience and everything.
The next one is, how do you mark your paper charts?
With highlighters.
Yeah, we just use basic Sharpie highlighters.
Yep.
Or I think you even have some other brands.
Oh, these are no. Oh, that's Papermate. Bic.
Yeah, we just use highlighters.
Sharpie.
And before
Integra. Wow. So
before
every highlighter in there is a different brand. Imagine that.
before starting a project, I always because I at one point bought like a nice set of the Sharpie highlighters. So like a big set of these that came with, I think it was like 7 colors or 6 colors or something. So I have an array of what I can pick from. And I try to always keep the same color for an entire project because
It looks weird when you start messing up the colors. Yeah. And okay, this is going to be me. I'm weird. I will match my highlighters.
that's what I was just going to say.
Okay, you do it too.
Before I start a project, I will pick a color that I think is the most accurate or that matches the theme of the Stitchy project the best.
Well, if it's like a Christmas one, I'd probably use a green highlighter, which I do have somewhere. It's not in my little can. Or if it's say winter, I would use a blue one or something like that. That's funny. You coordinate it.
I haven't really with this one. I'm just using yellow because yellow's what I had.
Well, and that's funny because my yellow one's in with my summer project and my yellow highlighter. And then this one where, I should have done yellow, but I didn't have it in my can, so I'm actually using the pink. So, yes and no. I'm not fanatical about it. But that's funny.
Next, is there a cross-stitch book you suggest? That one that Grandma has is awesome.
Oh, yeah. It is a book. It's 101. Oh, I wish I had the name of it. 101 cross-stitch something. And it's patterns, but it's by Better Homes and Garden and Country Cross-Stitch Crafts or something. It was an old magazine my mom used to get. And that's how she got the book, was when that came out. But I do know it says across the top, Better Homes and Gardens as well. And it has a purplish cover on it. That book. And she doesn't plan on getting rid of it or anything. Because
We've told her she's not allowed to.
Yeah, but there's still things in there she'd like to stitch as well. But I've told her, don't get rid of it. If you do, please just let me have it. And but it's hers. She's not getting rid of it, which is fine because she shares with me and you.
Yeah. Okay, next is there anything that you find you are very nitpicky about when you cross stitch? I like mine to look good. I make sure all my X's are crossed in the same direction. I have started railroading because I just think it looks so much nicer. I don't drag my threads across the back very much. I mean,
a little bit.
I did a little bit there, but it's I make sure that it's not crossing any of the holes.
Yeah, if I have a stitch that looks just weird and wonky, I will pull it out or, unpick it and redo that stitch. I usually try and do it as I'm going if something goes awry, so I don't have to unpick multiple. But yeah, just try and keep the bottom leg and the top leg all go in the same direction, and the same one the bottom, the same one the top, so they're not, you know, crossed. Yeah, just, I don't know. I mean, I try to make it look good, but I don't want to say I'm overly nitpicky. I'm sure there's other people that have a fussy way they do something, and theirs may look much better than mine. I don't know. I'd say just that, keeping my stitches all the same direction. But yeah, I kind of do jump around a little bit here and there. Like I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm just like not paying attention right now, so obviously I can't be that nitpicky. But yeah, I just like I kind of do my own thing. I move all over where I just feel is like right, but I don't. I try to still make sure my stitches look really good. Favorite LNS you visited while on a trip?
I haven't ever been like on a vacation trip and gone to an LNS.
But
never
that
really,
is going to change.
Yes, I've never thought about it until now.
The only LNS I've really been to is, well, I've been to Embroidery Central, but that's mostly online, so.
It's our local.
Yeah. But then Shepherd's Bush is just awesome.
Yeah, and that's about 50 minutes from us.
And we did a little tour of it that you can look back and see earlier. It was in March.
Yeah. Well, and so we want to go, or the furthest one I've been to would be Pine. It's not Pine Mountain's the brand of.
Pine Needle?
Yeah, it's called Pine Needle is the store, but Pine Mountain is the name of the
Designs.
Thanks. Yeah, that they do, and it is in South Jordan. It's at Gardner Village, which is just a fun place to go. It's all these little house type shop things, and one of them is Pine Needle, and that's probably the furthest one I've been to, and that's probably an hour and 20 minutes away. It's down closer to Bluffdale, which is where 1 2 3 Stitch is. Saint Duo, whatever.
Owe me a soda.
But my husband and I have been talking. We just celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary, and we were talking about going on a mini vacation, just the two of us. We talked about going maybe to Southern California, and driving out there. And if so, we drive through Vegas. So you know I'll be stopping.
And Dad's gonna love that.
We already talked about it. And I told him, I said, if I can have like $100 to go spend on stitching stuff, which would be my souvenir type things, is what I consider it, and go in cross stitch shopping on our way. I said, you can have $100 to spend in Vegas how you want. And he just looked at me and raised his eyebrows. He's like, really? You just said that? It was a funny moment. But anyway, he's fine. He's a trooper. He's been bra shopping with me and swimsuit shopping with me. He's been cross stitch shopping with me. It'll be fine.
He's really good about being a trooper through that. He'll like sit on his phone while Mom goes in a store.
Yeah.
And just like play games.
But
then like Wednesday nights, we do dinner as a family.
Mm-hmm.
And of course Mom and I always sit and talk about our stitching. And are you kidding me? Is that all you talk about?
Oh, he gets so frustrated with that. It's like, and last week it was, well, we're not talking about cross stitch. We were talking about crochet.
Yeah, and he just like rolled his eyes.
Yeah, he was like, you too. But I've even taken a phone cord and charger with me in my purse before when we've been going shopping somewhere that he necessarily wouldn't enjoy. So that when his phone dies, I find him a chair next to a wall with a plug. And he's completely entertained.
That's great.
Yeah, I suggest it for all you women. Going with your spouses, your significant others. If they like to play on their phones, that is, I guess, or tablets, whatever.
Is there anything you do that you feel like takes up a lot of time when you cross stitch but is worth it in the end?
Probably the railroading. It does take an extra second, and I don't do it on every stitch. I'm not as faithful at it as Jordan is.
Railroading. Oh yeah, railroading. I thought you were talking about parking.
Oh, no. But I do think it's worth it because of how your stitches look in the long run.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't take that long except like right now when my fabric or my when my thread is twisted and I have to like separate it. But
well, let your thread dangle so it untwists.
And I do that.
Oh, okay.
But every once in a while it's just like a little bit twisted. Do you want to know what takes the most time that you kind of just have to do? Is counting your stitches. Some of those
that's
long,
true.
like
the long
rows.
Look,
I don't know how well you can see. Right here, across this bottom, that is a lot of snow.
Just a long row.
And that is a long line of just white stitches. And so, like, going through and counting that over and over and over. And I've tried, like, doing, like, 10 and then doing a full stitch, which I need to count a row right now. That's why I'm not stitching. But I've tried doing that, and I don't feel like something about it throws off the tension of my stitches, and so
they don't look right. Right.
So I don't know what to do. I just kind of deal with it.
Well, and to count on the pattern is so nice and easy because it, has the grid for the 10. So you're 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, you know. And then, that's not bad. It's the counting over and over repetitions on here. I've thought about, and I haven't done it, but next time I have a really long line, I'm going to do it. Just straight pins. And just put a pin every 10 or every 20. So after, you don't have to count that same section over and over, and then you can pull it out and move on.
I don't know what it is about counting while, like, stitching or crocheting or whatever it is that I'm doing. I swear I don't say all the numbers. I have to count things like 5 times to make sure that I actually am saying all the numbers in my head. Because I just, like, I'll get to, like, 17 and I'm like, wait, did I even say 14? Like, I don't know. I'm weird and flighty and airheaded, so that's probably just what it is. But I always feel like I mess up counting somewhere, and so I have to count like a bajillion times in order to make sure that I...
Well, and it's like the whole thing where you measure twice, cut once. They teach you that with fabric. They teach you that with, like if you're doing woodworking or anything like that, you measure twice, cut once.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with like to count it multiple times or, twice versus just the once. It's just going to save you a headache in the long run. Unless I guess you can't count like you're saying it. We're not counting all the stitches. But,
That's the whole thing.
That's the whole tag?
Yeah. That one was actually a long one. 16 questions compared to the others we've done. Like 7. Or like 10 questions. I don't know what I'm saying. Too many numbers now. I just counted.
Because you tried to count.
We have our sal that started last week. The basic up and away. And I think our next stitch with me, we're going to do those patterns.
We'll probably work on it, yep.
And then on May 1st, we are starting our Wordplay Sal with Shauna from Adelaide Cottage and Jeannie Swartz. And I think we're going to try to do...
that's hashtag Wordplay Sal.
Yeah. And I think we're going to try to do a quick little video to put out on the... I think it's a Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday the 1st. I think we're going to try to just put a quick little start video up.
So if you'd like to join us, you can go to Crazy Annie's, and she has the patterns. She might be missing one or two, but she had them all in order and was getting them back in stock. So that would be, because they're hard patterns to find, so that's a great place to go.
Her website has been down. I don't know when or if it's back up. But she said just to email her at crazyanniestitchin at yahoo.com, and we'll put all the links to all of this down in the description.
Yeah, and she said in the notes for the name of the email to do
WTNT, which is with
thy needle and thread. So she knows, what it is, and she'll make sure she gets it and answers your email. But yeah, please join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. I love stitch alongs. I've been part of several because I thoroughly enjoy them.
And then we've picked out our colors because we're changing the colors for it. So either
we'll
on
be posting
Tuesday
that on Instagram and stuff as well.
Or in our next video, we'll talk about those, and then we'll also post them on Instagram.
Yeah, and we just converted it to DMC, but just to give people different ideas of ways to change it. We are making ours quite a bit more bright than what they are. They are more muted, primitive color tones, and we decided to go bright. So that's exciting. And I'm to the point of playing thread chicken, so I'm going to end this thread.
We'll end this video.
I have a low.
And I have a door.
And well, thanks for joining us, stopping by, and stitching with us. We always appreciate it. Thanks for subscribing to our channel and being friends with us and commenting. We love reading them. And you can find me on Instagram as Jamie X Stitch.
And I'm on Instagram as Little Stitch Girl 94. Okay.
Thanks.
That's everything. Bye.